Hey folks, this is Mark Kim with OrientWatchUSA.com with the 60th anniversary model. Now this comes in two varieties, and this is the gold-plated variety. This model number is SDT00001S. Now this is a limited edition watch. There's only 1,500 worldwide that were produced, and we're lucky to have quite a large selection and quite a large quantity here in the United States. So let's take a closer look. There are two variations of this watch. There is this gold-plated version and also a stainless steel version here. And if you want to see the video on this one, just go ahead and backtrack and go and take a look at the SDT00002W. Okay, now going back to this watch. There's a couple things about this watch. The first thing being that it is a hackable watch, which means when you pull out the crown, the second hand does stop, and it is a hand-wound movement. There's a couple things I want to just point out here. If you take a close look at the font of the Orient and the 60th anniversary right on the dial, you'll notice this this retro cursive font. This was a font that Orient used when they were first founded in 1950, and so as their 60th birthday, they want to revisit their roots by adding this font. Okay, let me go ahead and take off the watch so that I can show you the functionality of the watch and whatnot. But before I do that, I just want you to notice one thing. Notice around the buckle, that same cursive is on, has the logo on it. So, simply taking off the watch, let me go ahead and show you some of the functionality of the movement via the crown. So like I said before, if you pull out the crown, the second hand stops because it's hackable. Let's see if it actually works. So at 40, I'm going to pull out the crown, or approximately 40. Oops. That was just, there you go. And you'll notice that it stops. If I put it back in, it starts, pull it out again, oops, stops. There you go. Now for those who are unfamiliar with a power reserve indicator, which is located at the 12 o'clock position, it's basically like a car fuel gauge. The watch over here works basically off a spring, which is inside the movement. Now that spring, although if you didn't have a power reserve indicator, you would never know exactly how much power is in that spring. But because there's a power reserve indicator, you know exactly how much power there is. Now these 10, 20, 30, 40 may sound like some sort of arbitrary number. These units are in hours. So right now, if you take a look at it, it has approximately 10 hours worth of power left in its spring. So it shows 10. As I wind the movement using the crown, notice how the power reserve gets closer to 40. I'm basically pumping gas into it. It uses gas when it stays absolutely still. So when it's at 22 hours, like it is right now on the power reserve indicator, for around a day without wearing it, it will still run. So a useful part about the power reserve is when you pick up a watch, sometimes you don't know whether or not to trust the time. If the power reserve is greater than 0, you can trust the time. Alright, so now that we understand how the power reserve works, let's go ahead and try to adjust the date. The crown has two settings. The first setting is date, the second setting is time. So, the first setting, pull it out, you'll notice that the date changes. And if I pull it out one more time, now I can adjust the time. Notice at the time function, that's when the second it gets hacked. Okay, let's go ahead and put it back in. Notice the second hand working again. Now this is not an automatic watch, folks. It's just a hand-winding mechanical, which means just because you're moving with the watch on doesn't mean it's going to power the spring. So please make sure to wind the crown. I always suggest to wind around 30 because you never want to over-wind the crown, the spring. Okay, folks, so this is SDT00001S. This is the 60th anniversary, and I hope to see you wearing it soon.